Get started here this morning. Today we once again convene to consider a state.
If you are confirmed to this, you are not going to resign from your current position at the White House?
Thank you, Senator. I have been advised by counsel that the legal approach is to take a unpaid leave of absence from the Council of Economic Advisors, cease my CE activities, and if counsel advises me otherwise, I will follow the law and follow counsel's advice.
I guess I just wanted to ask you, why did counsel advise you in that way? You have every right to just say, no, I'm going to resign.
Well, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't answer why they advise me that way. But
you can determine your own career. You know that, right?
No, yes, I know that. And
yeah, and so you want to go back to the Council on Economic Advisors after this term. Is that correct?
Well, I don't know what will happen. You know, the term for which I've been nominated is 4.5 months. If I am nominated and confirmed for a longer term than just a handful of months, I would absolutely resign.
Associating myself with the comments of my colleague, Senator Blunt Rochester, with respect to...
One final question here. Has anyone in the administration asked you to commit formally or informally to vote to lowering interest rates?
No.
With that, I yield back.
First of all, I appreciated the opportunity to visit with you in my office. I will be the third member in a row to recognize.
You share President Trump's vision for what it takes to move our economy forward. But I want to make sure that the answers that you gave when we were talking are still the answers that you have now as it relates to your role as a governor of the Fed and not as the chairman of the CAE.
Thank you, Senator. I couldn't be, and thank you for the opportunity to discuss these issues with you on the phone prior to the hearing. I couldn't be more in agreement that independence of the central bank is of paramount importance for the economy, for financial markets, for the long-run stewardship of the country. All of those are completely, I'm in complete accord with. Look, the president nominated me because I have policy views that I suppose that he liked. If I'm confirmed to this role, I will act independently, as the Federal Reserve always does, based on my own personal analysis of economic data, my own personal analysis of the effects of economic policies upon the economy, and act based on my judgment of the best economic policy possible. That said, I'm always happy to hear views from every source possible. It's important to me to hear a variety of views to make sure that I really do think that the things that I think, to challenge my own views and interrogate them, and hearing a variety of views on that matter is always helpful.
I'll tell you, Dr. Miran, one of the things I like about you is that you're clear, you're consistent, and you've been honest. And you've been clear with me and consistent with me and honest with me, and I appreciate that a lot. I do think that I want to reinforce the importance of the Fed's independence because it is something that I actually believe is paramount for our country and for our economy.
And to reinforce our need for a very independent Federal Reserve Board.
I do believe that there's no evidence that tariffs have had any inflationary effect in the sense of moving the aggregate price level. The Council of Economic Advisors just put out an update to a previous study where we looked at the import components of every single good, and we identified that imported goods have actually been getting cheaper relative to domestically produced goods, which is the opposite of what you'd expect to see if tariffs were inflationary. Moreover, there's no sense in which U.S. goods inflation has diverged from goods inflation internationally, which again is something you would expect to see if tariffs were inflationary because the U.S. is implementing significant tariffs, but other countries are not. Moving forward, I expect my view of inflation to be informed by the broad suite of economic policies and not just monetary policy. And indeed, I think this is a subject, which has received insufficient attention in the past. So, for example, if you consider border policies I was discussing before, moving millions of new residents into a relatively fixed supply of housing will be extremely inflationary because it pushes rents up. CE has estimated that the open border policies of the last several years resulted in a 6.5 percentage point increase in rents, which explains about 30% of the increase. 30% of the increase since 22, right? So that's hugely inflationary. So it is my view that the change to border policies is actually quite deflationary in its effects, and we're working on quantifying that.
In this Manhattan Institute paper published last year that I would like to enter into the record. You propose reforming the Federal Reserve by explicitly tying Fed board membership to the result of elections, giving the president control over the Fed, and allowing the president to have complete authority to fire Fed governors. Congress would need to implement these reforms. Is that correct?
Thank you, Senator. That is not correct. I did not recommend giving the president control over the Fed because what I recommended doing was a package of checks and balances. And one of the other checks and balances included in that package was strengthening the system of regional reserve banks and ensuring that they voted every meeting, which would then give them a majority over the Board of Governors.
I've read your paper and I disagree with your characterization of the argument. Do you think our economy would be better off with President Trump setting interest rates unilaterally?
Thank you, Senator. I don't believe that's a situation which is currently happening.
But my question is, do you think our economy would be better off if he were able to set interest rates unilaterally, yes or no?
I think the president has had a series of excellent calls on monetary policy over the recent few years. However, I do think that independence of the central bank from political cycle is key to its long-term success in delivering superior economic.
So,
should financial markets and households and firms come to view that it's not independent, it presumably will have a material effect on bond yields and inflation expectations that would be adverse for the outcome of adverse for economic outcomes.
In a world where business never stops, Mint keeps you ahead, any screen, anytime. From studios to the ground, Mint breaks down business, leadership, and lifestyle, boldly, visually, and smartly. From boardrooms to markets, from personal wealth to industry trends, we bring you the insights that matter.
Mint is doing brilliantly well. It's a well-read page, I would think.
What fuels India's biggest CEOs? Ride along and find out.
I have to work that much harder. I have to put that much more in.
Over the years.
Yes.
Earlier I could say, no, I can't afford it.
Yeah.
But now I can.
Want to invest like the pros? Learn from India's top market experts.
Things like that worry me about markets.
I don't want to buy a house to invest.
Your money, your future. We make finance simple. Step inside breathtaking homes and the creative minds behind them.
So we are at the house in Camellias. I think Camellias is the most expensive property in the NCR and probably the most expensive in the country.
India's real estate scene decoded. No jargon, no fluff.
Home buyers will have more bargaining power.
It's a great time to buy a house as well.
Some chase success, others create it. Meet the ones who made the impossible possible.
I don't want to be a doctor, I don't want to be an engineer, I don't want to be an accountant. That's the most fragile thing. Poof, it will go away. वो ताली ऐसी थी ना, इतनी addictive थी, मैंने कहा बॉस अब तो यही होगा.
We don't just talk business, we show it, and the world's watching.